guys, I'm here with AU Black Student Alliance and AU Ideal Council member Melan White. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Have you seen a change in student activism surrounding this year's election on Ashland's campus, especially since this will be the first presidential election for some?
I think I have seen some changes on campus, specifically with like AU Democrats. I know that I'm on their emailing list, and they've been trying to get people together to do watch parties for the debates and just have different conversations regarding this year's election. And also Black Student Alliance has been doing a lot of work to not only promote voter registration before that October 5th deadline, but also to get involved and get people educated about the vote that they're going to cast coming up.
That's great. Have you witnessed any other student-led organizations or offices speak about events surrounding Black Lives Matter leading up to the current election?
So I think there was some activity during the summer after the death of George Floyd, after the protests. I think there was a surge in student organizations wanting to speak out and wanting to, say that they're an ally or just show support to students of color on campus. And then I think as far as offices, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion does a really good job of supporting students, especially during hard times, whether that's just putting things out on social media, whether that's reaching out to students, whether that's having, a Zoom session where people can get on during the summer and just have a conversation about everything going on. I think they've done a lot of work to just make sure that students have adults and other clubs to lean on during that time.
That's so important for sure. Do you feel this election will have enough minority representation in votes?
I think this election will have a lot of minority representation, especially with Kamala Harris being the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic side. I think just her presence is already going to encourage more women to vote, more people of color to vote. With Kamala Harris, I think that's going to be definitely an encourager to get different populations out to vote. But I also think that people are in a space where they don't like what's happening within the White House right now. They don't like who's running it. So I'm hoping that that's enough encouragement for different people to get out and vote that maybe haven't voted before. And then especially with all the people that are now 18 and able to vote, I hope that they're also going to get out and we see a surge in that age group voting.
For sure. Has Black Student Alliance worked with other student-led groups or other organizations to help increase the number of student voters?
Yes, so Black Student Alliance has done 2 different cross-club collaborations this year. A couple of weeks ago, they teamed up with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion to do a voter registration drive. And there was a good turnout. A lot of people had already registered to vote, so it just kind of turned into a conversation about next steps. So what do I do if I'm going to in-person voting? What do I do if I'm voting via absentee ballot? And then the second collaboration that is in the works is a collaboration between Black Student Alliance and AU Democrats, where they team up either on social media or in person and talk about the issues on this year's ballot and how to understand your ballot.
What are some current issues that you believe need to be addressed following this election?
I think for me, it's looking at my identity and looking at how different things on the ballot are being addressed as it relates to people of color, as it relates to women, as it relates to people the wealth gap, the wage gap in our country. So I think for me, there are big things that I'm looking for during the election that maybe we haven't seen given a lot of care or time to within the last 4 years.
Why do you think it's important to get involved with voting?
For me, voting is giving yourself a voice. You're having a say in the way that the next 4 years are going to look like in the country. And as a young person who's about to leave college and get out into the real world, I want to make sure that the people in power are creating a country that I want to live in, that I want to thrive in, that I maybe want to eventually, bring kids into. So voting is not only for the next 4 years, but the things they do will also affect generations and years to come. So I think that's why it's important to vote.
That's great. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.